Paul was suddenly dragged to a metal pole. He immediately reached for his weapon, but his other hand was held by Coffee. One of the other prisoners, seeing this, began to scream for help. Then Coffee reached for Paul's groin, holding him in place tightly. Paul noticed the light bulb above his head growing brighter. With the sound of the light bulb exploding, Coffee let go of Paul, and the prisoner was still shouting for help. Coffee sat on the bed and began to cough violently, and suddenly countless flying insects flew out of his mouth. The insects turned into ash in the air. Paul didn't know what Coffee had done, but Coffee, sweating heavily, said, "I've cured your disease," and mentioned that he was very tired before lying down to sleep. Half skeptical, Paul went to the bathroom and was amazed to find that his urethritis had been cured. He hadn't felt this relieved in a long time. Paul's wife, grateful to Coffee, made cornbread for him as thanks. In the prison, there was an elderly inmate who had a clever old rat that would perform tricks for him. The old man loved the rat, but the prison's officer, Percy, was a cruel person. Every time the rat came out to look for food, Percy would use all his strength to try and get rid of it. The guards thought Percy was unreasonable, and every time he relied on his connections, he looked down on the other guards. Some guards couldn't stand him and tried to hit him, but Percy would threaten them, saying if they laid a hand on him, he'd have them fired. Paul told Percy not to be so arrogant, and that if he kept threatening people, they'd beat him up even if they lost their jobs. Percy's old habits kicked in again, and he scared the old man so much that he fell. Just as Percy was being his usual arrogant self, David suddenly locked his throat. Not only did David kiss Percy, but he also touched him. Percy was so scared that he wet himself. The old man mocked Percy for being a coward, and Percy, in his sorrow, started crying. From that moment on, Percy and the old man had a feud. One day, when the old man was playing with the rat, the wheel accidentally bounced out and the rat followed it. Percy then stepped on the rat, crushing it to death. Seeing the rat barely alive, Percy walked away smugly, while the old man cried in sadness. Suddenly, Coffee reached out for the rat, and Paul handed it to him. After taking the rat, Coffee blew on it, and soon his palm started glowing. Suddenly, Coffee coughed again, and countless insects flew out of his mouth. Miraculously, the rat came back to life, and everyone witnessed Coffee's incredible power. The old man was very grateful to Coffee. The guards decided to expel Percy from the prison. Percy suggested that if he could conduct an execution, he would leave quietly. On a stormy day, it was time for the old man's execution. He was seated in the electric chair. Percy deliberately didn't wet the sponge. As the execution time approached, Paul noticed the bucket didn't have any ripples, and the floor was dry, but it was too late by then. When the power was turned on, the old man screamed in agony, but it was too late to stop it. Coffee could feel the pain, and everyone sensed something was wrong. The old man began to emit a cloud of white smoke. Everyone tried to flee, and Percy turned around in fear.